So welcome back, everyone. I am excited and proud to bring on my next guest, who's also one of my sponsors. I have with me Anna von Straussenberg. She's the owner of L. Anna von Straussenberg CPA. Anna, I thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me and the show. I also want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What makes you so different? Because you know what? You're going to love her when you listen to her. Go ahead.
Carol, thank you for having me on. Yeah, one of the things I'd like to tell people is I call myself a backdoor accountant because I started off in the teaching profession and that wasn't working out so good. My husband said to me, I think you ought to go into business, maybe become an accountant, because who does their family budget on a spreadsheet except you?
And that was when?
That was back in 1990. And so that's what I did. I got applied at a few different places and ended up working at an accounting firm. I started off on the bottom rung as a receptionist, but I learned a lot of the ropes from the partners there, and I decided I went back to school and took more accounting courses. I have one under my belt already, and more computer classes, and so I eventually took enough accounting classes to sit for the CPA exam, which I did. And my goal was to become a CPA by the time I turned 40, and I did. I turned in the application the week of my 40th birthday, so I think it was close enough.
That's pretty cool.
So,
well, what I know about you is you're all about helping people understand their numbers and how it is so important to be able to understand them, because you can actually help people, and you've done it before. You've talked about it many, many times, about how when you really understand your numbers with her, she can actually help you increase your business.
yes, it's very important to know where your efforts are working and where they're not working, and if you don't know what your bottom line is, and you don't know what your inventory is, and you don't know all these things going on with your books, then you don't have enough information to make good decisions. And so I know I had one client, I helped him straighten out his inventory, and I don't take all the credit for his growth in business, but I think having better books helped him to make better decisions about how much to invest in the next piece of his business, and he expanded. He was a artificial turf guy, and he expanded up to Flagstaff, down to Tucson, and I think it's because he could see where his numbers were, and they were accurate, and he's, where it might have looked like he was losing money, but no, he had more in inventory than he thought.
Well, what I love about you, the stories that I've heard about this, is that you are hands-on with them. So, a lot of times when you take in all of your information to your CPA or whatever, is that they just take it and then they give it back to you and they file everything and then you're happy or whatever is what happens. But what I think with you is, because you're so hands-on with them, you can show them and tell them, look, this is where I see you need to do this, and this is where I see you need to do that.
Well, my preferred way of working with my clients is to try to see them about 3 times a year. The first time would be during the summer. We kind of look at their books through 6 months. And then the next time we look at the books will be in November. We see everything through the end of October. And by the time we finish looking at the books and making adjustments, they already know what November is going to be and can project December, so we can actually say, if you do nothing else, this is what your tax liability is going to be, and then we can make some planning decisions. Should you fund your retirement plan? Should you buy more equipment? I just talked to a client recently that they're looking at a better year, and so they're planning on buying some equipment, and I'll plan to look at their books in October. So
Yes.
that's a really important thing, and I like to handhold my clients. I like to get to know them. One of the things my boss used to tell me before I took over his firm is get to know your clients. And I surprised somebody new who came in to see me, and I said, well, I would like to take a tour of your factory. And he goes, nobody has ever asked me that. And I thought, I'm surprised, because when you do that, you find things and you can picture in your mind what the guy's doing, and so you can ask better questions.
Absolutely. You could call her direct. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. The website is Arizona CPAs with an S.com. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. She does free consultations. She does second opinions. And, to me, when I think about working with somebody who is all about ethics, this is the other thing that we must bring up, because it is your tagline, that you are excellence and integrity in accounting.
Yes, I really believe I stand by my work. If I make a mistake or my staff makes a mistake, I will pay any penalty. And then also, I cannot tell a lie to save my life. I hope nobody ever tries to put a gun to my head to make me tell a lie, because I don't think I'd be able to do it. Anyway, but we've had times when clients will say, well, can't you just fudge the numbers a little bit? And I say, no, that's not how I work. I said, if you can give me a legitimate reason that we need to take this position or this deduction, I will do it. But I'm not going to risk my personal feeling of integrity, because I just cannot stand liars, and I won't be one. And also, I won't risk my license. I'm licensed with the AICPA. I'm licensed with the state of Arizona. I'm licensed in California, New York, and the I have to uphold rules from the IRS. So I have a lot at stake, and I can't imagine why any CPA would take that risk, but unfortunately some do.
Now, again, her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. You can check her out on her website, which is ArizonaCPAs.com. I want to really quickly, I know we have a little bit more time today, but I do want to start off with just a little bit talking about electric vehicles.
Okay. Well, I get a lot of newsletters from the IRS. In fact, I get about 4 of them every day. And one of them had an updated FAQ for electric vehicles. And I went in and printed out their whole FAQ, and it's this big old thick pile.
I can't believe
it's
that.
It's a pile. I had to
and only Anna would do that.
I wanted to read through it to make sure that there were no changes. But the main thing I want to talk about is the fact that there are so many rules that you have to make sure when you buy that vehicle to comply with. It has to be a new vehicle. It has to be one that's still eligible, because they sometimes put a cap on the number of vehicles that can get the credit. And, the credit is up to $7,500, but it depends on whether, the criteria that vehicle meets. And then there's limitations. There's a upper limit. If your income is over $300,000, you can't take it. And then there's a tax limit. You have to have taxable income and income tax, and the credit is limited to the amount of your tax liability for that year. So if you don't have a tax liability, then you don't get the credit, and it's not refundable, and you can't carry it forward.
It's interesting, because a lot of people, obviously, they're buying these electric vehicles, and a lot of people think about that, right? Well, because it's worth it to do, because of I'm going to get the write-off or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know something, folks? This is the thing, is that we don't know. You don't know what you don't know. I say it a lot on my show, and it's so true. Where else but on Networking Arizona do you hear about Pinklint and also things like this with your electric vehicles?
Oh, I was so sad. One of my clients was hoping to get a credit for an electric vehicle, and she said, well, why didn't you take it on my 2022 return? We bought the electric vehicle. And I said, but you had no income, no taxable income, because she started a business, and startup businesses, by the way, lose money all the time, and she had a loss and couldn't take the credit. And if I'd known her before that, I could have advised her.
Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk further. And tune in because we're going to talk a lot more, too, about some of these different things. That there's different rules for lots of stuff that you think you're going to get and you just don't know. And you want to make sure you're doing it correctly. Anna is all about excellence and integrity in accounting. You can check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs.com. She works nationwide. She does free consultations. She does second opinions all the time. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. Her phone number direct, it's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs with an S.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.